Welcome to Adulting with Ebonie, the podcast that, let's be honest, has evolved a lot over the last 6 seasons. Season 7 brings together neurodiversity, human design, and embodiment so that Gen X or Millennial Misfits and late diagnosed neurospices can become empowered, embodied, and fully expressed. This is a show where I actively encourage you to feel your feelings rather than think them, glow up, not grow up, and become full of yourself, because who the fuck else should you be full of? Each week, I have real and raw conversations about what it means and takes to be fully resourced and have happy, healthy, intimate relationships as a dopamine-deficient adult, seeking to be the change that we want to see in the world. I'm your host, Ebonie Allard, aka Ebonie Alchemy, a late diagnosed ADHD, combined type and Asperger's, in case you like specifics, artist, mystic, and self-actualization facilitator. I am an international award-winning multiple brain integration technique master coach with a special interest in embodied human design for neurodivergence. I've been in the personal development, creativity, and entrepreneurship spaces all of my life, and as a 5-2 emotional manifesting generator with a left angle cross of distraction, I'm here to help you know what to trust and what to tune out. Each week I share relatable, practical ways that mean that you get to take less responsibility for more reward and safely remove your camouflage for more belonging, acceptance, and fulfilment. This season, what can you expect? Well, this season, what I thought I would do is return a little bit to my roots and push myself a little bit further. For those of you who don't know, the last 3 years in Ebonie Land have been tough. I never say that because, firstly, all of life is tough, and also none of it is. You just get on with it, right? So what I actually mean when I say that is that I had a complete dissolution of my company, the company I'd been running for 11 years, 3 very important relationships, but 2 that had been an integral part of my life for 11 years. And what that meant is that for the last couple of years, I have been healing and learning to trust again and getting a diagnosis and understanding and integrating what that actually means for me. And in numerological terms, the business and the relationships and everything fell apart in a personal 8 year. And, karma, money, power, authority, all of those things, I had huge understandings about who I actually am, what I'm actually here for, and how I was out of alignment. With everything collapsing and experiencing, I suppose, that year as a tower card moment, there was some introspection, more introspection than normal, if you like, that needed to happen. So as a 5-2, it can be quite a thing to balance or move between the messenger and the hermit. And let's just say that the last 2 years I've been much more hermit than messenger because I didn't have a message, right? I was really integrating the last 10 years of my life. And I guess in my 9-year closing things out, observing and being really honest with myself around some patterns I was finding myself in, particularly in relationship. And I think that's why I got my diagnosis then. I really started to look at my relationships and be like, this is a pattern for me. What's going on here? And then in my last year, which was a personal 1 year, really started building solid foundations, got my head down, built a new company from scratch, which is not easy, not fun, and I don't like it. And I really intend for this to be the last time I build a company. And I wanted to learn a lot, and I wanted to make sure that I was doing things correctly and that I was building solid foundations for my own future and really centering myself in my world in a way that perhaps previously I would have thought was selfish. And now I really understand, like I said in my book, Misfit to Maven, nearly 10 years ago, it'll be 10 years this year, It's not selfish, it's self-full. And we can only give from a full cup. So I'm back with a full cup, and this year is a personal 2-year for me, so it's all about relationships and synergy and going out there in the world and co-creating again. So with that in mind, I have challenged myself a little bit more this season. I wanted to look at empowerment, embodiment and full self-expression, but I wanted to take it a little bit deeper and really talk about belonging and intimacy and the difficulties that we experience, or that I can only really talk from my own personal experience, but bring that into conversation with other people about how we age, how we have deeper, more meaningful, more honest relationships. Yeah, all of that. Then also it is the 10-year anniversary of Misfit to Maven, so there will be some celebration of that coming up and some case studies, some behind the scenes. I want to show you the evolution, because one of the things that I am no longer ashamed of is my own personal evolution. Whereas I used to believe that I couldn't stick to anything, now as a aligned, embodied manifesting generator, I get that it is an alignment for me to keep evolving. So now that comes from a place of ownership, I want to actually showcase some of that evolution by speaking to some clients that have stayed with me along that journey and seen that evolution, and talk about theirs, see how my work has impacted them, and then the impact that has had on other people as well. So we'll be looking a little bit at that. In the patron part, we are changing that up. Now, if you become a Maven Haven member, which is my inner circle, my community, the space where you get to meet like-minded, like-hearted, like-bodied, like-operating systemed people, and slowly begin to safely remove your camouflage and make real, authentic relationships as your unmasked self, and talk about all the things in a place that feels good to do that. You also get access to the patron part of the podcast and 20% off a whole load of my programs and offers. The patron part is available on its own for just £5 a month. And if you decide to become a patron, you are supporting me in creating this podcast for you and allowing me to reach more people and to get even better guests or even wider audiences, or take this podcast out further to the world. And I am really excited to do that this year. We are changing up, or I have changed up a little bit how that behind the scenes piece, or the patron part, is going to work. I now have a series of, I was going to say probing, but they're always, questions that will get some really interesting answers. I hope that my guests will not have been asked before. It's a quick fire round. I've got 15 questions to ask them in 15 minutes. We'll see how far we get. And there'll be some solo episodes where I'm going to deep dive a little bit into a topic, and mostly around embodied human design or alchemy or empowerment, or how to really use your value filter, all of those kind of things, in, again, short 15-minute episodes. For now, that is it. Welcome to Series 7 of the podcast. Series 7 is going to run from January to July. We're going to take a break over the summer where we'll put some best bits episodes together for you. And if you have missed any, you've got a chance to binge watch and catch up. And then we'll be back in the autumn, or after the summer, with another season, season 8. So for now, go and binge watch or listen to any episodes that you haven't yet listened to. And I will be back next week with a new episode of Adulting with Ebonie. Thank you so much for being here. If you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel, or whichever platform you are listening to this on, it's available everywhere. Maybe you're on Spotify, maybe you're on Apple Podcasts. Please do that. And if you haven't yet left a review or a rating, it really does make a massive difference to our listenership. And I'm back, and I want to get the podcast back up in the top 1%. We were in the 5% for a long time, but I'm back, baby, and let's do this.